Welcome back to episode 2 of Beyond the Questions. I'm back with Debbie. This is Gaby. Debbie, you just shared an actual experience with me of someone who has tested our course that we're working on and is really helping them. So could you tell me again what you just said? Because that was amazing. They scored triple, quadruple just from using the tips we gave them.
We have a student who wants to sit for her Cambridge Advanced, and she was having issues with two specific parts of the listening, which would be part 2 and part 4, which, are usually parts that a lot of people have problems with. I asked her to use some of the techniques that we have thought up, and she said that they've helped her so much where she was getting, for example, 1 or 2 out of 8 in part 2. Now she's getting 7 out of 8. And in part 4, she's getting 8 or 9 out of 10. The holistic approach we have developed has helped her quite a bit. She was very pleased with it.
Yeah, and based on what you were saying and even what I'm seeing by myself as I'm trying to improve my German, the parts of the listening that are hardest are the real life parts. So you said it was parts where someone's being interviewed, like you might see a TV interview, or where there's multiple people talking together at once and they have different accents. Even though those might be the hardest part of the test, those are the hardest parts of real life too. So if you master those, you're golden.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. But I think today we've kind of forgotten how to listen.
I definitely agree. The thing that I've seen with some of my clients, and you can tell me if you've seen this too, is they're not quite a clever hybrid yet. They're more business savvy. They can listen to a TED talk. They can watch a panel because you're not allowed to interrupt somebody in a panel. But you throw a podcast episode at them or ask them to talk to real life people in the street, they panic.
Totally, right? And I think we've both done it. Our first language is English, and we both know a different language. Like we tend to panic because we don't feel confident enough in some situations. It takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, and a lot of mistakes in order to be able to feel confident. You with your German or me with my Greek initially, we're much better than we were years ago in the beginning. You need to practice because the vocabulary that they may use in daily conversation, it's not going to be the vocabulary that you learn from a book. We connect everything when we speak at a normal speed for us, but not at such a normal speed for someone who is not a native English speaker. Adding in vocabulary that's daily vocabulary or slang or, cutting off words. You don't give up. You just keep working at it. You keep practicing. You keep making mistakes. If we're talking about exams, you find your technique. You find something that works for you. And there are a lot of techniques out there that someone can use, master them and use them in real life. As you said, you're golden. But it takes time. It takes practice. And I think that most people, as far as foreign languages are concerned, are impatient. They just get disappointed and give up. Instead of looking for something, a technique, 3 techniques or 4 techniques out of the many that will help them listen in an exam, but listen in life.
Let's dive into that a little bit more. Where to listen and how to listen, because some people, they don't do it often enough and others are using the time that they do have on the wrong thing. The course will break it down step by step once that's ready. But what are maybe 3 things that people could use for listening practice? You can give 3 and then I'll add my 2 cents.
Okay, so at the moment, whoever is listening to an Australian accent and an American accent. Some people may find the American accent easier to understand, and some people may find the Australian accent easier to understand. One of the accents may be very, very difficult, or both may be very difficult. So what does a person need to do? They need to immerse themselves in that particular accent. What do most people do though? They avoid them. They avoid them like the plague. They go to the easier accent. Oh yeah, I get that accent. So I'm not going to bother with the other accent. It's too difficult for me. People should train their ear, not on what's easy, but what's difficult.
Yeah, it's one way that I think the language apps are helpful for the beginner levels, but once you want to get to intermediate, it messes you up. You're chasing the stars or trying to keep your hearts. So you go for whatever's easy instead of pushing yourself. Instead of getting into the gamification, focus more on like 1% better each time. And it doesn't even have to be a long study session. It could be like 5 minutes, 15 minutes? Like you're talking about with those TED Talks, Debbie, how would you use a TED Talk as a listening practice?
Writing down, and I stress this, write down, not type. Okay. It's really important for us to learn how to write again because it helps us remember and just see how much they actually remember, they actually recall from those 5 minutes or 4 minutes. Have a look. What do you remember? Okay, you remember 4 things. Listen again. Okay, are those 4 things correct? If those 4 things are correct, if those 3 things are correct, great. You've taken a step forward, right? You've actually listened to something. Let's say you have 3 out of 5 things correct the first time that you listen to it, or 2 out of 5 things correct. That's positive. It's not negative. And I think that's also something that people get really disappointed that they're not picking up every piece of specific information, general information, whatever it is that they're listening to. But it's also, Gabby, about the technique that they use because we're getting different types of information in those 5 minutes, right? We're getting the details, we're getting the general information, and people don't know how to listen for it. What I would say is to stop studying for 5 hours straight and start creating a study schedule. You have to start taking breaks. There are people who can study 1 hour straight and take a 10-minute break. There are people who need to take a break after 30 minutes. We're not machines. Even machines get tired. Take a break. Go outside, take a walk, and then come back to it. It's not going anywhere. That's the advice that I would give.
Okay. And that's great advice. To fill that out, I would say probably 30 minutes or maybe even 15 minutes is good for a busy professional, but not once a week. You should try and have it at least every day or every other day so you're not forgetting in between.
Yeah, it has to be regular. And it's like what we said, Gabby, in the first podcast, right? It's like going to the gym. You stop going to the gym. And personally, I know what I'm talking about as far as that's concerned. You stop going to the gym, you're going to suffer the consequences. 1 hour a week will keep you at the level that you are. Possibly you will learn a few more things. If you really, really want to learn, you have to do it at least 3 hours a week in an organized way, using a schedule. At least that will get you to where you want to go.
And breaking that down for those of you who are like me that can't do that math in your head. So 3 hours is 180 minutes. If you take off of the weekends and you divide that 35 minutes a day for Mondays and Friday,
Which is,
yeah, it's not impossible. Like they say with exercise, if 30 minutes in one go is too long, you could split that into 10, 15-minute pieces.
throughout the day, right?
Yeah, listen to something when you're waking up while you're brushing your teeth and getting ready. It's passive listening. Then you have your lunchtime where you have a little bit more focus. You could try and write some notes of what you're listening to and end your night with maybe something that's, depending on how tired you are, you could either be passive or active, but you have to put the work in. It's not just, you can't just download it into your brain. It's not how that works.
Even music, literally listen to the lyrics and see what you can pick up from the lyrics. It's fun.
Yeah, and it's much easier than before because Spotify has the lyrics you can follow along karaoke style. Don't do this with rap though, because you will be so confused. Try pop or country because they're usually slow enough where you can follow what's happening.
That's also something because I know a lot of people, they say, I have a problem with listening. And okay, and one of the questions that we tend to ask is, okay, so when you watch films, TV or series, do you have the subtitles on? Most people are like, yeah. And most of them listen to the language of the country that they come from. Then it's like, don't you listen to any music that has English lyrics? No. Well, that's not helpful. I mean, we're not saying change everything and listen to only English music and watch everything without subtitles. But it's what we said from the beginning. Take it slowly a little bit and do it over. It's what Gaby said.
Then Debbie just finished it to what I said. So that's all from us today, you guys. We'll be keeping you posted on this course as we're working on it. We have a draft of the outline. I am making that into a curriculum, and then we're going to start recording this summer. I might be seeing you this summer on my own because Debbie is taking some well-earned time off to visit family in Australia. So until next time, this is Gaby and
Debbie.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.